Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. First call, Diontae Johnson joins AFC playoff team, Steelers KC injury updates, odds on potential Steelers playoff seeds. Tuesday's First Call has health updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Kansas City Chiefs. Diontae Johnson has another new home with a team that is AFC playoff bound. There is some data to track about the Steelers' potential playoff seeding. Also, things are looking really bleak for the New York Rangers, and the Penguins can relate to their latest pain. The Steelers are keeping an eye on lots of injuries heading into Wednesday's Christmas Day game against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team is hopeful that the likes of George Pickens, hamstring, Larry Ogunjobi, groin, Dante Jackson, back, and DeShon Elliott, hamstring, will be able to suit up. Joey Porter Jr., knee, Justin Fields, abdomen, and Ben Skowronek, hip, may be longer shots. On the Kansas City side, there are plenty of players to monitor as well. All-Pro defensive lineman Chris Jones, calf, tackle DJ Humphries, hamstring, and defensive back Shamari Connor, concussion, were all non-participants at practice Monday. Tackle Jawaan Taylor, knee, was limited. As far as quarterback Patrick Mahomes' ailing ankle, the former NFL MVP played through the injury during a win over the Houston Texans last week. He seems to think the ailment is improving. "I think I'll be in a better place ankle-wise," Mahomes said via ESPN.com. "The body is going to be sore with a short week, but I think the ankle should be in a better place. We'll see in practice, but as far as how I felt after this game compared to the one before, I'm definitely in a lot better place." Mahomes went 28-41 for 260 yards, a touchdown and no interceptions. He was sacked just once and moved well, rushing for 33 yards and a touchdown. DJ's Christmas Day Diontae Johnson has another new home. After the Steelers traded the wide receiver to Carolina this offseason, the Panthers moved him to Baltimore before Week 9 along with a 6th-round pick in exchange for a Ravens 2025 5th-round pick. However, Johnson barely played in Baltimore, catching just one pass in 4 games. At one point during a Week 13 game against the Philadelphia Eagles, Johnson refused to enter the game. So he was scratched for the club's next game against the New York Giants and was waived on December 20th, a day before the team hosted the Steelers. Scouting the Chiefs, Steelers' opponent is 20-1 over past calendar year. The Steelers have acknowledged communication problems in their defense during losses the past 2 weeks, and between veteran Mahomes and offensive-savvy coach/play caller Andy Reid, this would not be a good week to be lacking in assignment football. Key injuries: the Steelers are expected to be without starting cornerback Joey Porter Jr., knee, but are likely to welcome back some or all among receiver George Pickens, hamstring, cornerback Dante Jackson, back, defensive lineman Larry Ogunjobi, groin, and safety DeShon Elliott, hamstring, from recent absences of varying lengths. Chiefs All-Pro defensive tackle suffered a calf injury during a win at the Houston Texans on Saturday, but indications were he will likely play Wednesday. A pair of starting caliber offensive tackles, DJ Humphries, hamstring, and Jawaan Taylor, knee, are on the injury report. Series record: Steelers lead 23-14. Series notes the most recent regular season meeting between the teams came 3 weeks prior to the postseason game in January 2022. It also was in Kansas City and also was a Chiefs victory, 36-10. The playoff game was the final career appearance by longtime Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. Counting the playoffs, the Chiefs have won all 3 meetings against the Steelers since Mahomes became their starting quarterback in 2018. The Chiefs have averaged 40 points in those games and have an average margin of victory of 17.2. The Steelers had won 6 of 7 against the Chiefs before Mahomes took over for them. After losing to the Chiefs once during each of the first 2 seasons following the 1970 AFL/NFL merger, the Steelers won 13 of 16 in the series between 1972 to 1992. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin is 5-5 in head-to-head matchups with Reid, including 4-4 during the regular season and 4-4 since Reid has been with the Chiefs. Notable: Kansas City can clinch the number 1 seed in the AFC with a win. The Steelers could by the end of the day wrap up the AFC North title if they win and the Baltimore Ravens lose at the Houston Texans. The Chiefs are on one calendar year with only one loss. They fell at home to the Las Vegas Raiders on Christmas Day 2023 but won the final 2 games of that regular season, swept 4 postseason games en route to winning Super Bowl 58 and are 14-1 this season. Kansas City's lone loss was November 17 at the Buffalo Bills. The Steelers have lost 2 consecutive and are hoping to avoid a 3-game losing streak in December for the 2nd year in a row and 5th time in 7 seasons. The Steelers have lost 5 of their past 6 games played on 3 days rest dating to the 2019 season. Fantasy tip: no team in the NFL has allowed more receiving yards to tight ends this season than the Chiefs, 1,090. Only 3 teams have allowed more opponent tight end catches, 94. Tight end Pat Freiermuth leads the Steelers in receiving touchdowns with 6, and 3 other tight ends on the roster have a touchdown catch this season. Steelers tight ends account for 9 touchdowns. Are we sure this defense is great? Rex Ryan questions Steelers' recent performance. After the first few weeks of the season, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense appeared to be on the path to greatness. Since then, they've stumbled and rebounded multiple times over. But the recent issues in back-to-back weeks against the Philadelphia Eagles and Baltimore Ravens have one former head coach questioning everything. Their defense, is it really as good as we think? Rex Ryan said Monday via ESPN's Get Up. Last 2 weeks, they've given up 61 points, 819 yards. Are we sure this defense is great? I'm not so sure. Beyond the failures of the past 2 games, there have been a handful of questionable games or specific moments throughout the season. You can lump in the Cincinnati Bengals game from a few weeks ago. A great defense wouldn't have allowed 38 points and forced Russell Wilson to win in a shootout. There was also the loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Inexplicably, one of the worst rushing offenses in the league got going against the Steelers, and with a 4-point lead in the 4th quarter, they allowed a 15-play touchdown drive to lose the game. The Steelers' defense is still a good defense, but greatness is reserved for a select few. There have been too many bad games or bad moments now to describe the Steelers' defense as great. Entering the final 2 weeks of the season, they are tied for 6th in scoring allowed at 19.9 points per game, and they just fell out of the top 10 in total defense with 323.4 yards per game allowed. Some of it can be rationalized, like the fact that Dante Jackson, Deshaun Elliott, Larry Ogunjobi, and Joey Porter Jr. were missing for some or all of the last 2 games. But every team is dealing with injuries this time of year, and the great units overcome them. A better counterpoint is the fact that complementary football went out the window with George Pickens' injury. He has been out for the last 3 games, and the offense suddenly can't possess the ball. The defense has been left out to dry with how much it has been asked to play. The defense has spent over 72 minutes on the field over the last 2 games combined. After 77 snaps against the Eagles, it played 62 against the Ravens for a combined 139 snaps. That's an awful lot in a 6-day span, especially with a 3rd game just 4 days later to complete the gauntlet. When at full strength on both sides of the ball, the defense can be great at times. But I don't think anybody will be reflecting on the 2024 defense as one of the great ones in franchise history when it's all said and done. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Rex Ryan? Leave your opinion in the comments.